Welcome. So in this video, we are diving into something that I think is one of the most important conversations happening right now in the world of information and technology. The title says it all, the essential trust layer. And the question at the heart of this talk is really this: as artificial intelligence reshapes how we find, create, and judge information, where does trust come from? Who, or what, actually verifies what's real? And here's the thing, the answer has been sitting quietly in our communities for decades. It's the modern library. Not just the building. Not just the books. But the entire human architecture, the skills, the values, the professional judgment that librarians bring to knowledge work every single day. In this video, we are going to unpack why the AI era doesn't make libraries obsolete. It makes them absolutely essential. Let's get started. So here's where we are right now. Artificial intelligence is already inside our libraries, and it's moving fast. We are talking about AI-powered discovery systems that change how patrons find resources, local privacy-focused language models, AI-assisted cataloging, digital preservation workflows, and research support chatbots. These aren't future possibilities, they're happening today. But here's the critical point this slide makes: the technology is only one part of the conversation. And that question in the blue box? It's the one every library professional needs to sit with: will libraries help shape the AI era, or wait for others to shape it first? Because this isn't just about adopting tools. It's about who gets to define how those tools are used, who they serve, and what values they carry. Libraries have a seat at that table, if they choose to take it. And the next few slides make the case for why they must. Here's a reframe that I absolutely love. Prompt engineering, the skill that Silicon Valley is currently paying premium salaries for, is actually something librarians have been doing for decades. Think about it, a doctor walks in asking for papers on diabetes. But what they actually need is insight on a half-formed hunch they haven't even fully articulated yet. What happens next? A skilled librarian has that quiet, careful conversation to uncover the real question. Then they translate it into Boolean operators, mesh headings, truncation symbols, field qualifiers. That is prompt engineering. That is turning messy human problems into structured machine logic. Librarians have been doing this since before the internet existed. The tech industry just gave it a fancy new name and a six-figure salary. The core skill? Perfected long before 1989. And it belongs to libraries. That history matters, and it's about to become even more relevant. This chart tells a story that should worry all of us. As AI output grows, exponentially, almost vertically, our ability to naturally verify what's true is going in the opposite direction. It's declining. And the gap between those two curves? That's called the librarian's mandate. Think about what this means in practice. The more content AI generates, the harder it becomes for the average person to know what's real, what's fabricated, what's been cited correctly, or what's been taken out of context. The volume is simply overwhelming. And the traditional signals we used to trust, journal names, formatting, institutional affiliation, are no longer reliable indicators of accuracy, because AI can mimic all of them perfectly. So who fills that gap? Who has the training, the tools, and the professional mission to bridge it? That's not a rhetorical question. The answer, as the next slide makes dramatically clear, is the librarian. Let me give you a really concrete example of why this matters so much. Imagine a researcher asks an AI to generate a literature review. It comes back with 15 citations. The titles look believable. The journals are real institutions. The formatting is perfect, APA, Chicago, whatever you need. But a librarian asks one simple question: does this actually exist? And when they check, really check, 11 of those 15 citations are fabricated. Hallucinations. They look completely real, but they don't exist anywhere in any database. Only 4 sources actually check out. That's a 73% hallucination rate on a perfectly formatted, completely convincing literature review. This is the trust crisis at the heart of the AI era. And this is exactly why that librarian's question, does this actually exist? Is now one of the most valuable professional services any institution can offer. The next slide shows us just how deep the expertise required really goes. I love this iceberg visual, because it nails something so many people get wrong about AI literacy. Everyone focuses on the tip, the part above the waterline. Generating text, creating images, running basic prompts. That's what people mean when they say, I know how to use AI. But look at what's below the surface, that's where the real work lives. Evaluating outputs critically. Identifying hallucinations. Understanding algorithmic bias, because AI systems are trained on human data, and human data is full of bias. Applying structured evaluation frameworks like CLEAR. Protecting data privacy, knowing what you should and absolutely should not feed into an AI system. And navigating the policy landscape from ACRL, IFLA, and ARL. This is the AI literacy framework that library professionals are uniquely positioned to teach and model. Knowing how to click a button is the smallest part. Everything beneath the surface, that's the hard work. And it's the work that actually protects people. So here's a really useful contrast. The tech industry and the modern library are approaching AI adoption from completely different directions, and both matter, but they are not the same thing. The tech industry's core metric is speed and automation. Their goal is frictionless outputs. Their focus is feature deployment and scaling. Get it out fast, scale it up, remove all barriers. The modern library's core metric? Verification and accuracy. The goal is critical thinking, and yes, that sometimes means adding necessary friction. Slowing people down to ask, wait, is this actually true? Is this source real? Is this tool ethical? And the library's focus is on ethical adoption, privacy, and human oversight. These aren't competing approaches, they're complementary. But we need both at the table. A world with only tech industry logic and no library logic is a world optimized entirely for speed at the expense of truth. That's a world none of us should want. This slide gives us the architectural blueprint for where libraries are heading, and it's genuinely exciting. 3 pillars, 3 areas of transformation. First, collections, predictive analytics to understand user demand, paired with OCR and digital preservation workflows that future-proof our knowledge heritage. Second, cataloging, AI metadata tools that bring automated accuracy and dramatically reduce the burden of manual indexing, freeing librarians for higher-value work. Third, patron services, AI chatbots and personalized recommendation systems that provide intelligent support around the clock, not just during desk hours. Now here's the critical footnote on this slide, and please don't miss it. This entire transition relies on human oversight to mitigate data privacy risks and algorithmic bias. That's sourced from Chisholm-Obi's systematic review. The technology enables the transformation, but human judgment governs it. Libraries aren't becoming machines, they're becoming intelligent human-machine systems. This seesaw diagram hits close to home for a lot of library professionals, and the data behind it is sobering. On one side, heavy and pressing down hard, we have rising expectations and demand. Research support, digital learning, identifying misinformation, and an explosive need for AI literacy support, all of this is growing fast. On the other side, institutional reality. Tighter budgets, smaller teams, and, this one particularly stings, exclusion from larger institutional decision-making. This comes from the Ithaca S+R US Library Survey 2025, and it reflects a tension that is both real and urgent. The people doing the most critical foundational work, the verification, the literacy education, the ethical oversight, are often completely invisible until something breaks. Until a student submits a paper full of hallucinated citations. The invisibility is the problem. And the solution starts with making this work visible and measurable. Which is exactly what the next slide addresses. So how do we actually make that work visible? We change what we measure. This slide draws a clear and important line between traditional library metrics and AI-era library metrics. Traditional metrics, collections managed, gate counts, subscriptions held, transactions processed. These made perfect sense when the library's primary value was physical access to information. But that's not the primary value anymore. AI-era metrics look completely different. Hallucination checks performed, AI literacy workshops delivered, research workflows integrated, ethical tool evaluations conducted, privacy-focused language models managed. These are the outputs that matter now. These are the activities that protect institutional integrity, support research quality, and build public trust in information. If libraries continue to be measured only by how many books circulated last quarter, their most important contributions will remain invisible to administrators and funders. Changing the metrics is not just a reporting exercise, it's a strategic argument for relevance, funding, and the library's future. This Venn diagram is a beautiful way to think about where the modern library actually lives. On the left circle, algorithmic efficiency, scale, speed, automation, discovery. Everything AI does brilliantly. On the right circle, human empathy and judgment, verification, ethics, literacy, nuance. Everything that remains stubbornly, irreducibly human. And the intersection, that blue overlap in the middle, that's the modern library. Not fully one, and not fully the other. The synthesis. And the caption at the bottom says it perfectly, algorithmic efficiency without human judgment equals noise. The modern library is where technology is domesticated into trusted knowledge. That word, domesticated, is doing a lot of work. It means tamed, contextualized, made safe and genuinely useful for people. Anyone can access raw AI output. The library transforms it into something you can actually build real knowledge on. That is not a small thing. As our final slide shows, that is absolutely everything. And this is where we land. The defining decade for knowledge institutions. The future library will not compete with AI. Instead, it will help society understand AI better, question it critically, and use it responsibly. I want you to sit with that for a moment, because it reframes everything. This isn't a story about libraries surviving the AI era. It's a story about libraries being indispensable to it. Libraries have always guided people through periods of information change, from manuscripts to print, from print to digital, from search engines to AI. This moment is no different. The technology changes. The human need for trusted, verified, contextualized knowledge never does. That is the essential trust layer. And it has always been, and will always be, the library. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for staying with me through this. It genuinely means a lot. If this conversation sparked something for you, you won't want to miss the next video. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.